Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and you're here at Extra Time TV.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andres Suklal of the EXTV Podcast. And once again, today, we have the man from Scotland, James Beard. How are you today?
I am absolutely fabulous.
So, folks, we're continuing our trend of the podcast with our new format, different topics. There's time codes in the description below. So if you can't listen to the entire longer version of this, you just click on the time codes, you jump to the topic that interests you. And if there's something you think we missed, you can comment in the comment section below. It's been a while, but we're back and we're slowly regaining that fantastic momentum we always had, James. So also, we have the audio version only. So a lot of you are driving in your cars, really busy. Listen, we get it. It's a Spotify version. There's a link below. Audio version, you can listen to that as well and listen to James and I while you're on the highway and trying not to, go crazy with the traffic or whatever it is. So we're going to kick things off, James. Transfer news. Folks, we're not always talking about Manchester United, but it seems as if there's always something to talk about with Manchester United. Casimero, the Brazilian, a player who I really like from Real Madrid, is now at Manchester United, which shocked a lot of people. And I'll get into the details a little bit. It's reported here, I think, on Sky here. I don't know how accurate this is, but United said they would pay 70 million euros or something like that for the 30-year-old, whatever. But he's there now, reunited with Cristiano Ronaldo, Varane. James, what do you think about that?
Very, very interesting signing. I mean, we talked about last week about how terrible United are at the moment, but I think this signing of Carlos Enrique Casimero is a good move. I think the partnership, or not the partnership, but the history he has with Ronaldo is good, which shows to me that maybe Ronaldo's going to stay around. We'll see. But it's sad, obviously, for the Bermuda Triangle of Toni Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro, who were fantastic in that midfield three at Real Madrid. But it's a new chapter for Casemiro. I think he will do well. I think it's a type of league that will fit him, very well. He's a very tenacious midfielder, very hard tackler, very good passer of the ball too, and he can score a few goals. So I think it's a good signing for Manchester United. I think there's still a lot more problems than just one player coming in, but it's a step in the right direction. So we will see, and I think he brings something different to the fray. I mean, they have obviously McTominay and Fred, but he's a complete level above them, no disrespect to them, but I think he will definitely bring some light to the end of that tunnel maybe for them.
Yeah, I mean, not to harp on Manchester United, but, James and I, folks, we discussed Manchester United on great detail. In fact, our first podcast with Kevin, we spoke about, what's really wrong with them. But it's interesting for fans of Real Madrid, even Carlo Ancelotti. I was trying to pull the tweet up here somewhere on Facebook where he made a comment, which is not exactly, I'm not going to say it, word for word, but, he did express some, shock and bewilderment about Casemiro going to Manchester United, because Real Madrid, let's be honest, he's done really well at Manchester United. He just won the Champions League. He's young by footballing standards, depending on who you ask. He's a 30-year-old player. He's a main player for Brazil. One of the best players in his position. One of my favorites since Mascherano, before Mascherano stepped down, that type of player. And, to me, it's very interesting because maybe it's a personal challenge. Maybe it's something he's no longer motivated. And maybe he's one of those smart players who just decided, you know what? I don't think there's any more I can give. And then also, I'm pretty sure, based on what I'm seeing here with the figures, Manchester United are paying him some serious money. So he's probably thinking ahead as well as a player. They are people, people forget that they work, they have to secure their futures and so on. And meanwhile, he is making lots of money at Real Madrid. All those factors have to come into play. One issue I'm thinking about, James, is now that he's gone, the Holy Trinity, if you want to call it, of course, Modric and him, even though they have young players and so on, those three always stepped up when it matters. How will Ancelotti deal with this? It seems to me that Ancelotti was clearly surprised by this. And also, would Casemiro be one of the many high-profile players to go to Manchester United and raise the eternal argument, because some of them struggle when they get there, of what really goes on at Manchester United? Because he's not the first high-profile player to go there in recent years. Will he suffer the fate of previous players like the Pogbas and the Di Marias and the Sanchez, and the verdict is still out on Eriksen? Do you think that's going to happen with Casemiro?
Well, some have called Manchester United the retirement home for Real Madrid players. I mean,
Well, it's true.
Ronaldo,
Yeah.
Varane, and obviously now Casemiro, and then even the other players. I mean, who obviously weren't at Real Madrid. I mean, even like say obviously what Eriksen went through. He's now there. So there is a call for it, but nah, I think he's still got a lot of football in him yet. Was Ancelotti surprised? I mean, he may say it in the article, but I'm very surprised a coach of his standard would not know what's going on, at his club. But it also raises the question, who does he bring in to fill that gap? Because I think, as you said, he's a player like Mascherano who played in that role, but somebody like Kante, for example, for Chelsea, it's that defensive midfielder, that tenacious player who will win the ball, who can play as well, but can still do those things. So it makes you wonder if Real Madrid now will be on the hunt for somebody, or as you say, if they will step somebody up from maybe the youth system. But one of the things at these clubs is they always have players in mind. I mean, youth players, young players coming through. So I don't think there'll be a huge worry for the coach. But it'll be interesting for both sides. I mean, for the Manchester United side to see how Casemiro fits in, because I think it will mean a change in system. I think they will probably have to find their midfield three. But if you think about the way Ajax used to play, they used to play the old 4-3-3 system, in a sense. So I think it's probably coming around to Ten Hag's kind of favoured system. It will allow him to change that maybe if you get, but I still think they will bring in a few more players as well. So it brings a lot more questions to the table about both sides, which makes it very interesting as well.
Yeah, and I'm already starting to see the usual things. I pay attention on all these social media posts where the people, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, which is where we're from, folks, in the Caribbean, just letting you all know, the argument's already being made, which it really annoys me, and I wasn't going to speak about this, but it keeps coming up again. Can he handle, the physicality of the Premiership? And I'm thinking, of course he can. But, a lot of people are already expressing doubts about his ability to adapt. I think he's a top quality player. And this trend of thought goes back to when we were speaking about this last week, where something more than just the players and the coaches, and it's more wrong at Manchester United. And he is one of many quality players that go there, and somehow it doesn't click. But I have a feeling, if, Manchester United just keep it calm, trust Ten Hag. I could see what he's trying to do, as you said. If you look at how he does things in Ajax, Casimero is the kind of player that can fit in there. Will that Casimero signing be enough to appease the fans for now? What do you think?
Well, I think, the more I think of the Manchester United team, right, they have some decent players there, because, yes, they've got all the problems, but, at the end of the day, if you go through the team, De Gea is an excellent goalkeeper. No, he's had a lot of issues, made a lot of mistakes, but when a goalkeeper's not comfortable with the players around him, that's when he tends to make mistakes. So once the team starts to shore up, so even if you look defensively, to me, Wan-Bissaka is a very good right back. You've got Luke Shaw's probably the weak one in my opinion in there, but then you've got Varane, and I think Martinez is a very good defender. I think not playing beside Maguire though, I think it's probably time Maguire moves out, and I've heard that was what Ten Hag wanted, so maybe that will happen now. So you've got a decent back four, you're a decent goalkeeper, you've now got Casemiro in there, probably Fernandes will play with him, and then you need one more probably really good centre midfielder, and then it changes the whole game for them. Then you've still got Ronaldo, you've got Rashford, you've got Sancho. So to me, I'm hearing they're going to bring in maybe Anthony from Ajax. You bring in two more players and it completely changes the fold there, and it turns them probably from a bottom of the table team at the moment to a team that will challenge. So it's not that difficult. I've just given them a masterclass in coaching there, but but Ten Hag's a good coach. There's no two ways about it. He's having a bad time at the moment. He knows what he's doing. If he's given the resources to sign the players he wants, I think they will have a change in fortunes. But like we said, there's a lot of problems going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said there, James. I think he knows what he's doing. I like him. I can see what he's trying to do. I even saw what previous coaches were trying to do. But, Ten Hag, they had their discussions with whoever makes these decisions. And the problem is the circus that is Manchester United. Will they have the patience to say, okay, let this guy do their thing? We were speaking about Mourinho last week on the podcast, where now, in hindsight, everybody's saying, okay, we've seen what Mourinho was talking about. But at the time, everybody was ready to crucify him and said, get lost. He's just complaining, whatever. So I'm hoping, I'm not a Manchester United fan, folks, but as a football fan, and for you fans out there who I know, nobody likes to see their team suffering for so long. I hope that, they get things together. We'll see. I think the Casimero signing is a big deal. I'm surprised by it that he chose to go there, but, it shows the kind of player he is to go take up that.
The other interesting thing it brings up is people saw the stubbornness from Den Haag in the first 2 games and said it was wrong, but in hindsight, maybe it was right, because maybe that stubbornness and sadly losing the 2 games has allowed him that leeway now with the board to say, well, I need my players. I need things to get done my way. Let me do it, or we're not going to win games. So, I mean, yes, losing 2 games is not ideal, but if it allows him to then get the players he wants, or at least players of that similar attributes in those positions, it may change them. So maybe the stubbornness is not a bad thing,
Yep. I personally, I think it's a great move for Manchester United. It shows that attract that type of player still from a marketing perspective, from a morale perspective. You're bringing in a winner, which I always think, in addition to his obvious talent, this is a guy who's done it all before. And I think, for people who work in and around football, in addition to the technical attributes, the attitude of the player and somebody who has done it before, I think is something that Manchester United needs. I think I mentioned last week, there's not really any, right now at least, winners in Manchester United who've done it before, with the exception of obviously Ronaldo. But, one guy can't do it by himself. You need to have a team where collectively they all believe that they can. Because if you don't, and you have players that just can't see it happening, it tends to affect the changing room. And I'm sure, James, you know about this. I think that's also an added bonus, having a player like him. Cristiano Ronaldo will be happy now, I guess, with that type of signing, hopefully. We were wondering where he's going to go. And, you have quality players in there, and, success, breeds success. And we'll see how it goes. And then obviously,
maybe we should ask Mourinho.
Oh, yes, that is a very good question. Let's bring Mourinho, James. Let's ask Mourinho. Wait a minute, this is not the Mourinho I was thinking of. Who are you, sir?
Hey, I'm Mourinho Mouse. Don't you remember?
Oh, yeah. Yes. So listen, while you were not what I was expecting, what are your thoughts?
Andre. I think this is a fantastic signing. This Casimero, I worked with him at Real Madrid, and he is special. He's a special one, just like me.
The special one, the special mouse. Is that the right thing to say?
Very much so. He will do wonders at Manchester United. You mark my words.
So we will hold you to your words, Mr. What should I call you? What should I call you?
Mourinho Mouse.
Mourinho Mouse. That is a big name to live up to. So are you just as special as the other special one?
I am the special one.
You are the only one.
I am the only one.
My apologies. So you think Casimero is a real deal and he's going to turn things around?
He will be the rock in there, and he will shore up that midfield and supply Ronaldo.
I see.
And Maguire is out. my friend, remember my friend Foxy last week?
Yes.
Maguire, he called me and told me Maguire has to go, Mourinho Mouse. So I made the call to Carlo Ancelotti, and I said, send Casemiro over.
Oh my goodness, such power you guys have. So I can see from your very real background.
The special one has the power.
So I can see from the very realistic background that you're currently in Spain. So you obviously know what's going on in Real Madrid.
Visiting my old home.
Yes. I could tell you're actually there. It looks very real. Yes. Well, Mourinho, I think we're gonna have to have you on a regular basis. I don't know if James is gonna be happy about that, but I think I'll have you on the next show to have your thoughts as this saga continues. What do you think about that?
No problem, my friend. I am good friends with James too, He is another good coach, very young, but up and coming.
Maybe he may coach Manchester United one day, just saying.
Maybe. If he has the special touch, I don't know.
Yes. We'll have to see then. We'll have to have 3 of us on the show at the same time. So, folks, ladies and gentlemen, it's the other Mourinho, or is it the only one? The only Mourinho. What am I saying? The only Mourinho all the way from Spain at the Real Madrid Stadium. It's been a pleasure. And listen, we'll continue to chat next week. How about that? We're going to have to bring James back in.
Yeah, well, I don't know what happened there. I was looking at the screen and I talking to you and it gone blank.
Well, it seems as if our special guests have the ability to jump in and hack, if people still use that term, our show, James. It seems that they have that ability. So we'll have to tighten up security. What do you think, James?
I think we'll have to watch out for these special ones.
Yes, they keep appearing. You know, we had apparently a fox and now a Mourinho mouse or whatever.
Well, as they say in Scotland, there's a moose loose about this is.
So, folks, you're getting an international feel for this show.
And for the fans out there, that basically means there's a mouse loose inside this house, but that's Scottish slang for it. So just in case anybody did not understand what I said there.
And if you don't, feel free to comment in the comment section below. We'll probably have a segment just with James answering those questions. That'll be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So, folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Besides animals pirating our signal and jumping in our show with their ambush journalism and giving us their opinions, you can comment in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about Casimero, his move to Manchester United. Is it going to turn things around? Do you think Ten Hag is the coach to make things, you know, his plan? Do you believe in his plan? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, comment, share, the usual drill. So, James, we're going to head across to our next topic. We don't usually deal in drama here, folks, but PSG. So, you know, PSG on paper, you know, we've seen this before with other teams. They have the Neymars and the Mbappe and, you know, obviously Leo Messi and, you know, they have a pretty decent team. I still believe that they're on balance, but all is not well. They, you know, it's old news already. They got a 6-2 victory, I think, in their last game or whatever it was. I can't remember the exact scoreline. James will probably check that real quick, but all wasn't well when they were taking the penalties. Neymar and Mbappe were having a kind of go at each other about who was taking the penalties. Even kind of some people claiming he sort of disrespected Messi a little bit. They had to be separated at halftime. That was a report. Sergio Ramos was asked to intervene and try to talk to them and separate them. Wow. Okay, so when Messi was signed, it seemed like it was a happy trio. But the question that's being raised now by many people, so it's already well documented what's going on. Is Mbappe getting a little too cocky? Because even Florentino Perez said because remember he was supposed to go to Real Madrid, supposedly, and Florentino Perez said, this is not the Mbappe that I wanted to sign. Which was very strong words from Florentino Perez because he really liked it. This is not the Mbappe I wanted to sign a couple of years ago. This is a different guy. Has Mbappe lost his mind? Has he become arrogant? What do you think? What's going on at PSG?
It's a very difficult situation because, I mean, yes, they obviously had the issue with the penalty takers and, you know, who should take, you know, which penalty, etc. And I think one thing it would come down to, and I'm going to be very blunt here, is the character of the coach. To be able to coach this PSG team has to be somebody who's brutal, has to be somebody that has a real control over. I don't know if Gaultier, the coach, has all that, you know? But that being said, I think where the issue's coming in is Mbappe feels like I think he's been carrying the team. You know, when Messi had his little, and I won't say slump because he was still playing well and making assists, obviously Mbappe was scoring, you know? So I think because of that, and obviously Mbappe's stature in the game, he now feels, you know, he's on that level. Now we know, let's be honest with you, Messi, Mbappe, he still has a long way to go. And even Neymar as well, you know, to be on that level. So it's a strange situation, but at the end of the day, when you're playing with one of the best players in the world, and you're one of the players who wants to fill that player's boots, it can be a hard situation. So, I mean, there's always going to be spats in teams. There's always going to be players who, you know, put themselves first. I mean, it's kind of, in a sense, if you look at what's going on at Manchester United, it's a very similar thing to, you know, the fact that Ronaldo, for example, he's getting upset with the other players because they're not performing to a standard. These same things creep in at a team like PSG. So, for example, maybe Mbappe thought that he was the one that was playing the best, but now Messi's kind of showed us all again, you know, the true colours of Messi. He's scoring, he's, you know, the architect all the time now. And then you add Neymar to that. It's basically three players fighting for the spotlight. So it's a difficult one, but I think they have to learn their place. They are playing with Messi. But again, like I said, it comes back to that character of the coach you have to be able to instill that in the team. And that's a very difficult situation when you have three egos as big as that, you know? So we will see. We will see. And I think this has been the problem to me with PSG from the word go. From the time they started to, you know, spend all this money on big players, they've had a lack of coaches who could handle the egos. And it's now shown up again, you know?
Yeah, and it seemed as if, you know, Mbappe, I mean, we always knew Neymar was a bit of a, you know, prima donna, depending on who you ask. Very skillful player. All three of them, obviously, it goes without saying. And it goes back to the question everybody was asking when they first signed Messi, will it work? And now we're seeing, you know, it seems Messi and Neymar, at least, you know, because of their relationship, they obviously are friends off field. They're willing to work together. But I mean, everybody's commenting. I was trying to pull up the comments that was being made. But I remember Wayne Rooney even weighed in on it and said, you know, Mbappe needs to essentially be humble. At 22 years old, Messi already had, you know, 4 Ballon d'Ors, and Mbappe needs to humble himself because, you know, even with all his accomplishments, you know, you see the humility of Messi. Neymar, I mean, maybe obviously Neymar has his problems, but everything you said there, this is a problem you have when you have these stars. We saw this with Real Madrid in the original Galacticos era. I think Florentino Perez, when he returned to Real Madrid, I think he kind of finally figured it out. Because I mean, it's hard to argue Florentino Perez's success rate in his second stint. You know, as the president of Real Madrid, they won all those Champions League things, but there was a time they just couldn't manage it, and I think PSG is suffering or maybe learning, just like Real Madrid did in the early 2000s. And the truth is, I could see it being a huge problem throughout the season. I even saw a YouTube video where they were showing where side-by-side comparison between you know, some of the final passes in the box when Messi was at Barcelona versus PSG, and players would look at him, see he's open, and not pass the ball. Mbappe, something didn't work out, and Mbappe just kind of threw a tantrum where he was not running in position, which is crazy. I think that's honestly unacceptable. And then it goes back to what you were saying, James. You know, any coach that takes on this job is going to have to know that this is what he was heading into. And then also, in addition to that, Mbappe's contract, in addition to it being very lucrative, gives him a lot of power on the PSG board, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yeah, because I think when he signed the contract, he became, in theory, percentage holder of PSG.
Yeah, I think that's crazy. While I guess they were doing everything they can to keep him, I think PSG is making the mistake that I guess Real Madrid used to make, where they're like, whatever, we'll do whatever it takes to keep Mbappe. But I think for somebody that young and who clearly is not mature to have that kind of power, they are creating a monster. And it seemed as if, you know, this is nothing new, because we saw the signs last season. He was just pouting and said he wanted to leave. For those who pay a lot of attention, even before Messi was there, Mbappe was kind of having a go at Neymar. I think when Neymar suggested he was going to go back to Barcelona, but things were always not well there. And I think PSG have great players, but they don't have a great team. And I think, unfortunately, it's a shame, because a lot of people would like to see them be the dream team that we want to see, even if you don't like PSG. And this just shows a real problem in football now, how these things can affect, you know, teams. And I think unless there's a drastic change in attitude, because, you know, I'm reading here, James, that they actually had an emergency meeting to try to clear things up. They held a crisis meeting. Do these things actually work? I don't know. I won't know. But just to end off this particular topic, do you think, with all this drama going on, that they can still attain, you know, their sporting goals? Like, you know, obviously winning different Liga is, I hate to say it's done and dusted, but I mean, it's very hard to see them not winning it. And also, how do you think this will affect them in the Champions League?
Inevitably, it will always affect them, because, I mean, we're human beings. I mean, humans, I mean, they say we forgive and we forget, but it's not always as easy as that, you know? So, I mean, I think it will affect them, maybe not so much domestically, because, and I'm not saying it's a poor league or anything like that. I just mean that the quality they have on the field, they should still be able to handle it, you know, with even the issues. Now, the Champions League is a different story, because you need that cohesion, you need that team spirit.
So, you know, let us know what you think, as James said. So we're going to head across to our next topic, James. Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal. Arsenal, usually the brunt of a lot of jokes with people for many years, but They started off really well. Gabriel Jesus is banging in the goals. Is Arteta and crew finally getting it right, James?
Well, the proof is in the pudding. They're sitting very proudly at the top of the table. I mean, 3 wins from 3, 9 goals, only 2 against. I mean, it looks very, very good for them. And I think he's been able to put the team probably he wants together this time around. I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, Jesus, he signed Zinchenko, obviously, from, I think, Man City, was it? He's got Saliba there. He's got Martinelli, who, obviously, there's that funny story about how he went to United, didn't feel welcome there. I mean, they've got great young players as well. So when you go, and to me, we've got one of the best goalkeepers, obviously, in the league at the moment,
Yes.
But again, it comes down to cohesion. It comes down to the coach being able to stamp his blueprint on the team. And I think we're now seeing that. And I think there was no question that Arteta is a good coach. Even when they were going through that trouble, I mean, I think at the start of the season last year, they went the first 3 games and they lost all 3. But you could see, the way they were trying to play. They were trying to play that Arsenal way, which to me is a very entertaining brand of football. It always has been. But it's now coming together and it's fantastic. I mean, it's great for the league, it's great for Arteta, and it's great for Arsenal. So I'm sure there's a lot of Trinidadian Arsenal fans out there very, very happy. I mean, I've got a good friend of mine over in Tobago and he'll just be smiling every day at the moment. So it's great for the Premier League, and especially when their rivals, as in Manchester United, are sitting not so proudly at the bottom of the table. They will be very happy.
Yep, I think now is the time. Actually, you read my mind again, James, where I'm thinking that's exactly probably one of the catalysts that will probably give Arsenal a good season. Will they go and win the league? I don't think so, but then again, you never know. But, I mean, traditionally, for those of you who forgot, there was a time it was really only Manchester United and Arsenal for at least 10, 15 years. And Chelsea came along and shook things up, and then Manchester City. And, the money started flying into the Premiership, and, then now Liverpool, depending. I mean, they won 1 league title. I know that's going to piss off a lot of people by me saying that. But I think this is the time for Arsenal to strike. Can they sustain this throughout the entire season? That is a very good question. I will see. I think with this World Cup being very disruptive coming up, which we keep talking about, I think that will be how clubs manage that period will be very key, even the big ones. Players going away on international duty and things like that. So I think this period from November to December, we'll see how Arsenal, in particular, because all the teams, but we're speaking about Arsenal, we'll see how Arsenal manages that and how they are able to get maybe back into the higher end of the table where they belong, and who knows, maybe once again take a shot at the title, which I think might be a reach too far, but I think they're heading in the right direction, James. I think they are. Gabriel Jesus, what a signing. We spoke about the team in general, but what do you think about Gabriel Jesus' form as well? Was he that striker that they were missing?
I think he was, but I think where he was playing before, he was one of several stars. He's now the focal point, of the Arsenal team. And it just shows you how a change of horizons or a change of, location can really change a player's prospect, So he's been phenomenal. I mean, I think, as you said, one thing that always comes up in the Premier League season is injuries. How not just the coach, but obviously the medical team, the fitness team, the analysts, all of them are able to come together and obviously plan for the whole season. Because yes, you may have a superstar player, but what happens when he gets injured? What happens when he goes on international duty, etc., etc. So we will see how the team is able to have that lasting season, but they're doing well. I think he is, as I say, he's been a revelation in the first 3 games. We saw it in pre-season as well. So long may it continue.
Yes, folks. So we know there's a lot of Arsenal fans. I know James know a lot, and I know a lot as well. They are probably happy for the first time in a long time. Can Arsenal continue this? Is Arteta going in the right direction? Let us know what you think. What do you think? Is Arsenal, are they going to, this season, shock a lot of people, or are they going to fall away like they usually do? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. I know for a fact one of my buddies is looking at this right now, and he wants to say something, Javon Charles, a.k.a. Slick, one of the top FIFA players in Trinidad and Tobago. He actually plays for Trinidad and Tobago, loves Arsenal, and a couple of my other friends. So let us know what you think in the comment section below about that, because it's definitely going to be interesting. So James, we're going to head across to a more international topic. So I'm actually looking at the actual CAF website. I'm going to read the headline. The CAF launches groundbreaking Africa Super League. I won't go into the details, but basically, the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, said, as FIFA president, I'm happy to witness such a historic moment of this exciting football project to boost and improve club football in Africa. African club football needs to be brought to the next level, and to do that, it is important to be innovative and to have new ideas while fully representing the existing institutional framework. The Africa Super League, built within the international football pyramid structure, is a project which will make African club football shine in Africa and beyond. And there's a whole bunch. The prize money will be like a USD, and what I'm reading here, 100 million USD. And the winner receiving 11.5 million. So that's a lot of money, James. That's a lot of money. So, we have friends, like Tom, obviously is heavily involved in African football. Tom St. Feet. So James, this is we pay attention to the football that goes on in Africa. What do you think about this?
This is a very interesting move because well, first of all, let me talk about it from an African point of view first. Obviously, for many years, a lot of players have complained that they do not have leagues or a league that can sustain them in their own continent. I think I remember Drogba talking about it, Sammy Eto'o talking about it. So now they have this competition. The prize money is going to be into the hundreds of millions. They're going to have the best teams from I think there's around 22 to start with. Maybe it'll be next year. So I think from an African perspective, this is going to be huge. I did some research, and it will run along with the other national leagues. So they will also have clubs, for example. I think the way it's looking is if your club plays in this competition, you will still also play in the local leagues, So in theory, they will have two clubs, some of these teams, Again, as we go along, we'll find out more details. So that's interesting too. But I think from a global perspective, it obviously puts the African market right out there on the globe to see, but it also brings in that revenue to Africa, and it also gives those players an opportunity now to not necessarily have to come to Europe, because there's going to be money there for salaries, there's going to be money for bonuses. My only drawback would be is if they're going to allow this in Africa now, they talked about the European Super League. We've heard in the Caribbean for a while they wanted to have a Caribbean league, in a sense. So is it going to be the catalyst for all these other leagues to pop up? Now that would worry me a little bit, because it would take away from obviously the National Association club leagues. So I am very much for it because I think it's great for the African game, but I'm just worried what will happen down the line to the world, all the other countries, if everybody will go the same way, because like I say, it then means it could devalue some of the national leagues. So there's a lot of questions I have about it. I think it's a great initial move. Will it be every year? It's looking like, but maybe. So there's a lot of things they have to iron out, I think, before the start date next year. But I'm going to be watching it very closely.
Yep, and we'll definitely try to see if we can get Tom's opinion. He's currently down in Africa, James. We had a lot of interviews with him, and we'll put a link in the description below. We were following the AFCON Nations tournament, which took place. So I think it's something that's probably long overdue, but I can understand the concerns that you brought up. And as I'm reading here, they're trying to get that sort of governance that UEFA, CONMEBOL, and they say CONCACAF as well. That's a whole. We'll talk about that, I guess, at another time about CONCACAF. But to me, it's exciting. We'll see how it unfolds. Folks, let us know what you think in the comment section below. We know for a fact, and I want to say a special thank you to a lot of our viewers from the African continent, because they showed a lot of love to EXTV when we were talking about the AFCON nations and so on. It was brilliant. A lot of our subscribers, yes, we could see who subscribed. A large chunk of them, came from there. So we really appreciate the support, because James and I love football. Wherever it is, we will talk about it. So it means a lot. And let us know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, if you want to take a look at some of those episodes, I'll put a link in the description below. You can check back. It's brilliant. Where we spoke with Tom St. Feet, and we had a couple discussions with him. So James, we're going to end things off. Just a quick touch. We would, because we have our time frame, folks, because of retention and all that. Serie A continues. You know, the usual teams won last weekend. But Juventus, you know, AC Milan won last season. But all the other teams, obviously, Inter Milan would want to try to regain their title. But Juventus have made a very interesting signing with Angel Di Maria. I also think they're going to grab Paredes. It's rumored that he's on the verge of going on loan to Juventus. Do you think that people are kind of sleeping on Juventus and only speaking about the Milans, and they're quietly making some moves to come back and take back the Scudetto? What do you think?
I think again I'm going to come back to the same point I made about the Premier League about injuries, because I think whereas Di Maria is a very good signing, I think he's a little bit injury prone.
Yep.
What I remember. So I think it all depends how they manage their squad. I think they have a good squad. Do I think they're as good as the other ones? I'm not so sure. I still think AC Milan, Inter Milan, I think Roma, as I say, we spoke about it last week, are going to be up there as well. Juventus will be there or thereabouts, but it all comes down to that squad management. So it will be an interesting season. And then you've got your other teams in there, you know, your Lazios, all these ones as well. So it will be interesting, but I think I just don't think they're going to have enough. If I really think deep down, unless they make a few more signings, I think they will be, you know, they'll be pushing for a fourth or a fifth if I want to really make a prediction, you know. So
right.
We will see. We will see.
Yeah, I agree, because you know, Di Maria's first game perfectly captures what you just said, James. He had a brilliant game. He scored, and he got injured, and they said he's going to be out for 4 weeks. So spot on, James. You know, that's what you get with Di Maria. He's brilliant, but he's getting up there in age. You know, he does get his injuries. It's not like something new with him. So, you know, while he's great, if he's not managed properly, you know, Serie A is very physical.
And he's another player. He's another player that went to the Man United retirement home. So I don't know.
Yeah. Another example of a great player. Went to Manchester. He was great before. Went to Manchester United. You know, struggled. You know, he had a lot of off the field issues. People breaking into his house, like many other issues they had. And then went to PSG and was great again, and for Argentina. So you know, we're starting to see a common denominator here, James. Not pointing fingers.
Yeah, but all those Man United fans out there, I just want to say this.
Yes.
We have no problem with Man United. It's
Correct.
just obviously they're the team in the story right now, and
Yes. We're not picking on them at all.
We hope fortunes change. Let's just say that.
Yes, and yes, correct. James read my mind. We're not picking on Manchester United. It's just we're wondering, just like you all, what is really going on with this team. You know, it's football. We'll probably do the same for Real Madrid if it happens to them as well, or whoever it is, or Rangers in Scotland.
Well, as you bring that up, probably the biggest week in Rangers season on Tuesday night coming up. They played PSV Eindhoven. Obviously, Ruud van Nistelrooy coaching them. Giovanni van Bronckhorst coaching Rangers, two old foes.
Yep.
It finished 2-2. Second leg coming up on Tuesday. The winner will take their place in the Champions League group stage, which for Rangers is something that they've not done for 12 years. It's played in Europe, in Champions League football, so it's a huge deal. It was an excellent game, and my mouth is watering at that game because it was a standard of match that had you on the edge of their seat, and I know the game over there in Holland will be the same. So all you Scottish football fans, Rangers football fans, make sure you tune in on Tuesday to see that, and hopefully we will make it to the group stages of the Champions League, and then we'll get to talk about Rangers a lot more.
Excellent. And folks, in case you may not have noticed, James is from Scotland. So, you know, obviously he will have lots of love for them. But I'm also, people don't know this, one of the teams I always liked, and this is before I met James, I always liked Rangers. So lots of love for Scottish football. And we have somebody who's directly from there who has been involved in that football. And in case you're wondering why we have James' opinion on the show and it's held in such high regards, because James is a goalkeeper. He played there before. And also, you know, he's worked at many clubs, former goalkeeper. He knows what he's talking about. Versus me, just saying. So, folks, you know, we're going to end this off because if we keep talking, we're going to have a whole bunch of topics. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. Check out our new format in the YouTube description below. We break all the topics up in the time code. So you just click on the topic you want to listen to, because this is a lengthier version of the show. You could jump straight to that topic and then listen to the entire show whenever you feel like it. Liking and subscribing really helps. You know, our stats are showing that we have over 1,000 subscribers. So we'd like, you know, you guys to continue to show your support. It really helps the channel. and support our merch. We'll have the links below as well. And continue to give us the support that you've always been giving us. Yes, James and I disappeared for a while, but we're back and we have non-stop topics to talk about. So, James, as always, it's an absolute pleasure. We're going to have to watch out for those guests that keep jumping in on our show, James.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think there'll be more and more as the season goes on.
Yeah, we're going to have to tighten security, folks. Let us know what you think about our furry friends who seem to turn up and give us their thoughts. All are welcome on the show, folks. And no animals were hurt during the filming of this beautiful podcast. So once again, thank you for joining us and see you for our next podcast.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.